Viewers, the latest news about Ethiopia, Amhara, and Tigray region is that Ethiopia has suffered another major setback. According to reports, Ethiopia's duty-free export access to the United States has been revoked by President Joe Biden due to its failure to meet the requirements. And according to the White House, the action comes after 13 months of civil war in the country. Ethiopia is disqualified from participation in the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act due to gross violations of human rights. And the United States Trade Representative said when it notified Ethiopia in November. It said the ruling could be reversed if the Ethiopian government addressed those issues by January 1 when the suspension takes effect. And the Mali and Guinea also did not meet the requirements to benefit from the preferential trade agreement following COPs in the two countries this year. Whereas an Ethiopian government has claimed that Ethiopian National Defense Force soldiers will not enter the lands of Tigray region. This is a good news if the Ethiopian government meets its claim. But presently, Ethiopian National Defense Force, Amhara forces, and Eritrean Defense Force soldiers are present in western Tigray and oppressing the people there and want to call Ethiopian National Defense Force back from his soldiers western Tigray as per his claim. On the other hand, the airstrike that is being done on the cities of Tigray region should also be stopped. And a statement has also been said by Bureau of African Affairs that the United States welcomes reports that the Ethiopian National Defense Force will not proceed into the Tigray region. And we call on the government of Ethiopia to halt aerial assaults and reiterate our call for Eritrea to remove its forces from Ethiopia. And all parties to the conflict in Ethiopia must cease hostilities, end human rights abuses, allow humanitarian access, and enter negotiations. And there is no military solution to the conflict. Because according to the latest reports, it is being said that a fire was detected on 23rd December, means yesterday, within Shire town in northwestern Tigray. Shire is situated near Tigray Eritrea border, and multiple reports received that the situation at the Tigray and Eritrea border is very serious at this time. And the Eritrean Defense Force is again preparing to attack the Tigray region. And Eritrean Defense Force has installed heavy weapons at Eritrea and Tigray border. Although Ethiopian government has claimed that Ethiopian National Defense Force soldiers will not enter the Tigray region, but now the Eritrean army is ready to attack on the Tigray region again. Viewers, according to the crisis group, senior Tigray contacts told crisis group a reason for the retreat is to ensure they have enough forces in Tigray to guard against what they describe as a renewed threat from Eritrea's military, which joined the federal-led operation that removed Tigray's ruling party, the Tigray People's Liberation Front, from power in November 2020, by thus concentrating forces. Say sources close to Tigray's commander, they would retain the flexibility to launch various offensives as well as protect their home region. And Tigray's government said by removing troops from Amhara and Afar region, they hope to catalyze a peace process that has been elusive so far during a bitter conflict in which at least tens of thousands of fighters and civilians has died. Very significantly, the dissident regional government has dropped to the return of lost territory in contested Western Tigray as a precondition for talk, potentially opening the way for negotiations. Regional head Debretsion Gebremichael indicated in a 19th December letter to United Nations Secretary General Antonio that Tigray's leadership now favor an undefined UN mechanism for ensuring that Eritrean troops and forces from the neighboring Amhara region withdraw from western Tigray. And Amhara's government lays claim to the Sudan bordering district and occupied it in the war's first few weeks. Addis Ababa and Amhara region are unlikely to accept any sort of UN rule, but the shift in Tigray's position at least removes one of the most prominent obstacles to negotiations. A senior source from the national ruling Prosperity Party told Crisis Group there is fresh appetite in Addis Ababa to stop the fighting. Although elites remain divided over a way forward. The source said a peace process would involve reconnecting Tigray, which is now cut off from aid, trade, and vital federal services such as banking to the rest of Ethiopia. It could also mean rehabilitating the Tigray People Liberation Front, which Parliament classified as a terrorist organization in May, and possibly including it in a forthcoming national dialogue. Viewers, the interlocutor went on to say a federal operation to fully re-enter Tigray is unlikely, as more and more federal officials accept the need for a political rather than a military solution. And their concern is partially not to worse Tigrayan civilian suffering and partially not to push Tigray any further towards sessions. And with the federal government's 22 December announcement that it has halted its military operations, and there is a real chance that talks will follow. The two sides should take a number of steps to get to talks. They should strike a cessation of hostilities deal as soon as possible. And the Tigray and federal governments should recognize each other's legitimacy as an initial measure to build goodwill. And the federal government should comply with its obligations under international law and facilitate aid and restore services to Tigray as it extends support to the hundreds of thousands also affected by conflict in Afar and Amhara. And it should push ahead with an amnesty for jailed political leaders, which is reportedly imminent, and that would include Oromo figures such as Jawar Muhammad, raising the prospects of a return to dialogue as a way to stop support from the Oromo Liberation Army, an insurgent group in Oromia region. Ethiopia's most populous, that support has grown in 2021 since Oromo opposition parties boycotted elections, citing widespread state repression. It should also free the May thousands of mostly Tigrayan and Oromo civilians who have been detained without charge under emergency laws introduced on 2nd November. And international actors should immediately move to exploit the window for peace by encouraging the parties to pursue talks. And in the letter to Guterres, Tigray's government called for a no-fly zone over the region, which the federal military is still bombing, and arms embargoes on the Ethiopian and Eritrean governments. And the United Nations Security Council is unlikely to authorize any of these measures, given objections from China, Russia, and other member states. Still, the African Union's horn envoy, former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo, could take the lead in preparing a joint statement welcoming recent moves to end active fighting and calling for a formal cessation of hostilities and negotiations. Such a letter should be co-signed by the Horn's regional bloc, the International Authority on Development, The Kenyan government, Secretary General Guterres, EU Special Representative to the Horn of Africa, and Jeffrey Feltman, all these parties could state their readiness to support talks. And all outside powers, especially those that have been arming the federal military with drones and other hardware, should lend their backing to a peace process rather than fuel further war. All have an interest in seeing an end to the hostilities, tearing apart of country crucial to the Tigray's stability. And Ethiopia's civil war has shown devastation in much of the country's north, killed tens of thousands, uprooted and estimated to millions from their homes, and left more than 9 million facing acute hunger. And the country's economy is in trouble, with rising inflation, meaning the war's pain extends well outside Tigray. Given the conflict's political roots, actors on all sides should now take bold steps to bring the fighting to a close, even if that means upsetting some of their allies. More war will only mean continued horror, with destabilizing consequences for Ethiopia and potentially the Horn of Africa as a whole. So viewers, so far the latest update. For more latest update, please subscribe channel. Thanks for watching.